We talk about this all the time with the then, next, now.
Yes, then.
You don't need these words. You do not need stage direction. The house door creaked open and swung wide to reveal. Like, of course it happened then. It has to happen then. It's in order. I'm reading it word for word for word. Whatever word comes after this word happened then, or happened next, or happens now. Like those words are those stage direction words is what I call them, are just absolutely worthless and they weaken the story because they remind me it's a story.
Yeah.
When you say the house's door creaked open and swung wide to reveal an elderly man, I'm there. I'm in that moment. I'm just watching the movie. When you say the house's door creaked open and then swung wide, I'm like, oh, right, somebody's telling me a story. I'm not
Yeah.
actually watching this moment. I'm being told this as a story.
Releasing your inner dragon.
Start the show.
Yeah. Get
All
started.
right. We're going to do another live edit. First one of the season six. Pretty excited about
Yeah.
this. I don't know why I'm pretty excited about it because, as always, I have not seen this at all. I have no idea what we're walking into. The normal song and dance while Maria is setting up the screen to share it. We're gonna try to, if you're just listening to this on podcast, we will try to help you visualize what we're seeing. But of course, the best way to watch these is on YouTube, so you can actually see the document that we're sharing and watch us as we're kind of going through this. If you would like to be a part of this, we'll take 1,000 words from anybody. Any part of your story, just send it to us. Make sure you say that it is for the live critique. And then we'll go through and we'll do our thing and hopefully you'll get something out of it. We also do first page reads, and that is different. First page reads is a different type of thing that we do. If you haven't seen it, you should go look at them. They're quite popular. But with that one, you have to send us your first page of your manuscript, and that's it. But make sure that if you do that, you say this is for first page reads. It all comes to releasingyourInnerDragon at gmail.com. It's down in the comments below. And then the last thing that I like to say during this, because for whatever reason, the words subjective and opinion have lost their meaning. Remember, people, these are our opinions. These are not facts. You can disagree with everything we say, and you're 100% right when you disagree with us. That does not mean that we're not 100% right in our opinions. That's the thing about opinions and subjectivity. Both sides are right. There is no wrong side. You can disagree with the other side, but that's it. So we're not saying anything
Someone
negative about the. Go ahead.
someone went off in the comments um about like how flashbacks are actually fine and John Steinbeck had one in his first chapter and you know it's you're just dumb and this is just stupid and so on. I'm like, okay, when you pull off
Yeah,
a John Steinbeck, let me know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's our opinions, guys. So if you disagree, you're right. We're not arguing here, but we
Yeah.
feel the way we feel, and we're gonna say what we say. And most people, that guy excluded or not included, most people feel like they get a lot out of these to kind of see the way we look at writing and how we edit everything. So if you fall into the camp where you don't, it's all good. You can disagree
I
with it.
forcefully express my opinion. You are
Yes.
free to disagree. It
Yes.
remains an opinion.
Yeah. And we just live in a world where you know what it is? Back when we were growing up, to say something like that to somebody, like you're stupid, everything you say is dumb, you had to say it to their face. And there was a chance that that person would punch you in the face for saying it. And I really think that's what's missing. I think so if I was inventor, what I would do is make it mandatory that every computer has a fist on the monitor. And when you say something stupid, the other person can push a button and your computer punches you in the face. I think that would be good for society. I just really do.
I think
Um,
I think that would be the end of so much.
well, that's why we didn't do this stuff when we were growing up because you had to believe in it, like because you could get punched in the face.
I
And no
I
one,
have read the cesspit formerly known as Twitter, and it is
yeah,
yeah.
Nobody can get punched in the face anymore.
It's a hellscape. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. And that was also all my opinion and mostly a joke.
yeah.
So just you don't have to send me hate mail about being punched in the
Yes.
face. Um,
Getting punched in the face is not necessarily a good thing. Now, okay.
it's not. It's not.
Have we said enough
Um,
caveats? Or are
I
we
think
good?
so. I think we beat that one into the ground. All right.
All right. So as per
What do we
usual,
have today?
I also haven't read this or whatever. So I'm also here, fairly blind. I am going to read a couple of paragraphs and then we will stop and talk about our opinion on these pieces. Okay. Kitchi crossed tired legs and sat under the shade of an oak across the road from a thatch-roofed farmhouse. Digging in through her leather pack, she produced a codex with a ribbon marking her place. But she started at the beginning. Cicadas buzzed in the hills around her, but she barely heard them when she was invested in the words. She turned pages of heraldry and knights, sketched in black ink, before the title Spells and Chivalry. I'm going to stop there. Thoughts?
So, we always talk about four things: whose head am I in, where am I at, why am I here, and what's the cool thing is to keep me reading. So, whose head am I in? Boom, right there. First sentence, first word, right in the motion, the action, in media res. We're just a part of the scene, which is great. Where am I at? We could use a little more scene setting, but you know what? It's the first paragraph. We know we're in a field somewhere. There's a farmhouse across from us. That is actually good enough for the first 5 lines. The thing that I will point out that I didn't appreciate, and this is where, because it obviously this writer's trying to write in limited.
Mm.
That's what everything is. And there's little things that bring you out of limited that I just don't think a lot of writers pay attention to. And line 4 is that.
Yeah.
But she barely heard them when she was invested in the words. That is not her crossing her legs and going through her pack and pulling things out and looking at the farmhouse across the way. That is a third party narrator telling her story. And it's a slight slip. It's very minor. But this is one that, you could bring into her. You could have her actually be the one who says how her mind doesn't notice some things in her surroundings.
Or you could even change it to something like the cicadas buzzed in the hills around her, their song fading into the background as the words grew
Right.
in her mind, or something like
Right.
that.
Because that's
Just
her doing it.
Yes, just something other than she barely heard them, because she barely heard them is not an internal thought to her.
Right. The funny thing is that happened last night in writers group, and
Hmm.
this is just me. This has nothing to do with reality. I think words like suddenly, barely, almost, all of those are funny because basically what you're saying is she heard them.
Mm.
I mean, that's what. So last night it was the wind almost knocked him down. I'm like, so the wind didn't knock him down.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me. Why are you pointing out that the wind didn't do something? And again, that's a very me thing. I think it's silly. It
It's a
doesn't
weak
do.
verb. It
It
weakens
is.
it basically just means your verb is incorrect.
Right.
Right? Like if the wind almost knocked him down, then he staggered under the wind's assault.
That's what I said, or a variation of it. Yeah. And we talk about adverbs all the time. There's 3 ways that we recommend that you don't use them, and this is one of those 3 ways. One of them is when you've used the wrong verb. And so you're
Mm.
using an adverb to either strengthen the weak verb that you chose or weaken the too strong verb that you chose. And in this case, heard is too strong. She
Yeah.
didn't hear them when she invested in the words. She barely heard them. So we're using the wrong
Yeah.
verb to describe it. So therefore we have to have that adverb to
Which
weaken it.
which is why their song faded into the background works,
Right.
because that
Yeah,
gives you
because
the
faded into the background is a better verb than
Yeah.
heard for
Yeah.
this sentence. So yeah, watch your ly adverbs. Ly adverbs are always crappy tells. They just are. I use
Yeah.
a ly adverb almost every page. I'm not saying don't use them. They're fine. but there's three ways that if you use them, you're just not paying attention. And one of them is because you're using it to weaken or strengthen a verb that you chose, and it was the wrong verb that you chose.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
those. So a lot on line four. What did you have? You stopped here. Why did you stop?
okay, so I stopped for two reasons. I don't like the opening sentence. And I don't like it because it's putting too much information, too much raw information into one sentence without giving us any sense of why this moment is important. Okay?
I hear
So I'll
you.
explain. Kitchi crossed tired legs. Why is she tired? She sat under the shade of an oak. Okay? Across the road from a thatch-roofed farmhouse. Is the thatch important? Is the farmhouse important? Is the oak important? Are the tired legs important? Obviously, the name of the character is important. There's a lot going on in this sentence, and any one of them could be part of why this moment is important. Maybe she's tired because I'm assuming it's a she. Yeah, it is a she. Maybe she's tired because she ran, a mile to be at this farmhouse in order to be able to read. Okay. Maybe the farmhouse is important. She needs to be here to delve into the magical energy of the people who live in this farmhouse. Maybe the oak is important. It's only in its shade that she can read this codex.
Yeah, this particular text.
Yeah. But there's
So
no, it's just a lot of information without any why.
So I will agree 100% with what you said. Everything you said will improve this line.
Yeah.
The thing I will push back on is, and it's not a pushback because, like I said, I agree with everything you said. Maybe it's just that I'm a little more forgiving because I know that readers are very forgiving.
No,
So
you don't.
yes,
No, 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 you don't. Like, I'm not saying you have to have that
oh yeah,
motivation. It's just that for me, the
yeah,
first sentence was so overloaded
hmm
that I felt like there's a real missed opportunity here to split it into multiple sentences, to give these elements their attention and their due, and to, in that process, give us a reason
hmm
of
yeah. No, like I said, that's why
why
I'm not
this.
pushing back. So I'm
Yeah.
not pushing back at all because any one of those motivations are, we talk about the four things. Whose
Mm,
head am I in? Where am I at? Why am I here? That's the motivation.
yeah.
So you could work in your motivation in any three of these moments. I'm just pushing back and saying, um, as long as it's coming
Yeah.
and quickly, like like in the first half a page, you have to get at the most,
Mm.
you have to get why I'm here. Otherwise, the reader starts to drift.
Yeah. And that's like I said, it's not critical that you get the motivation now. It was more just that the sentence is so
It's a huge missed
dense
opportunity. Yeah, it's a
that I
huge missed
feel that
opportunity.
there's a real and let me just edit the comment. There's an opportunity here
hmm
to um
Work in
split
motivations.
into multiple motivation into multiple sentences and build in some motivation.
Yeah.
It's more that the sentence is dense than that you need the motivation. It's just that it is there
Yeah,
as well.
no, 100%. That's why I said I'm definitely not pushing back on you. I just
Yeah.
also want to say that as long as so the reason why I'm pushing back is this.
Mm,
I hate the academic kind of thing of you have to write a dynamic first sentence. If your first sentence
mm,
isn't dynamic, you suck as a writer and your story's going to fail.
mm.
Almost every successful book out there has a lackluster opening sentence. Like they don't have it. It's very difficult. Now there's tons of opportunity to make this one into that. So I 100% agree with you. I just want to remind people that the first sentence is not the
No,
be
no.
all end all when it comes to the readers. Now, if you're trying to be trad pubbed, if you're trying to get into traditional publishing, yes, the first sentence is everything because you got some, you know, prissy little college graduate who's been told a million times the first sentence is everything. And so they're going to definitely pay attention to that. But for a reader, they just they give you a first page. I mean, that's what the reader's going to give you. They're going to open that look inside. They're going to give you a first page. That's why by the half page mark, you have to make sure that you've hit the motivation, the why is the reader here, so that they are engaged and they want to continue going through it. That's all I'm saying. But tons of opportunity in that first sentence.
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to look up like my latest enjoyable read, and I will give you the first sentence and explain that no, it's not that. It starts with Adamat wore his coat tight, top buttons fastened against the wet night air that seemed to want to drown him. That is not the world's most, blazing
Well,
start.
okay, but going on what you're saying, we get character in there
Yes.
because of the fact of how he describes that the world is trying to drown him.
Yes. And that's kind of what I'm driving at here. You've got
Hmm.
all the same elements in the sentence. They're just being scrooshed together instead of the elements giving space to breathe and build into the character.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah. So it doesn't have to be this like world beating sentence. It just has to, you know, have a
Right.
little room.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was mostly that and this and the line 4 I also didn't
Hmm.
like. So I thought I'd stop there and speak about that.
Hmm.
All right, let's continue. Her squirrel cat. Well, that's nice. I like squirrel cats. I like the idea of a squirrel cat, but I'm almost certain that you're going to need a hyphen there
Hmm.
because otherwise, uh,
Did we read the sentence above it?
yes,
She turned pages of
she
heraldry
turned
night.
pages of heraldry and knights sketched in black ink before the title spells and chivalry.
I don't remember it. I think I was focused on line 4. All right, keep going.
Yeah,
Her squirrel cat. Love a squirrel cat.
awesome. Her squirrel cat curled into a tight ball in her lap and yawned, but it bounded to her shoulder and looked out at something unseen and unheard, and I'm going to stop right there. No. Okay, so I'll explain why. This is why the sentence to me felt important enough to stop on. So her squirrel cat is a really cool little animal. You've suddenly introduced a really important part of fantasy. Any cat lover who also likes squirrels is going to be right freaking there, going, "This is awesome." And it's curled into a tight ball in her lap. Fantastic. And then it yawns. Fantastic. All of that is really cool, paints a really cute picture. But then it bounded to her shoulder and looked at something unseen and unheard. Like, why is that juxtaposed? What is
Why
the
is it in the same
juxtaposition?
sentence?
Hmm?
Why is it in the same sentence?
Yes. Why is it in the same sentence and why is it juxtaposed?
The other problem that I have is, and so many fantasy writers do this, you're relying on the word to carry the description.
Yeah.
And a line, a couple adjectives to paint the picture of what a squirrel cat actually looks like, its size, its, you know, all of that would just do justice for the reader. So
Especially,
I try not to use the name of the animal or the name of the spell or the name of the thing
yeah.
to carry all of the
You
weight.
you you can use the name to carry some of the weight.
Oh, certainly.
Okay? Like calling it a squirrel cat is fine, no problems there. But is it a squirrel cat because it has a tail like a squirrel? Or is it a squirrel cat because it has claws like a cat and a squirrel's like nut eating mouth? Yeah,
Yeah. Is it face more squirrel-like than cat-like, or is it more
yeah,
cat-like than squirrel-like?
yeah.
Uh,
Where's the combo here? What's the
and see, so what I mean by that is, so yeah, these two clauses, because they're both clauses,
Mm,
they are strong enough to stand alone. They're separate enough that they don't need to be a part of the same thing. But like curled in a tight ball in her lap, it's fat, fluffy tail laying across her wrist,
mm,
or it's thin, long tail curled around her arm, whatever.
mm.
Or we got the yawn and yawned.
It's
It's
nut
fang.
eating teeth.
Yeah, it's fanged. its fangs showing all the way to the back. Or I don't know, how would you describe a square squirrel teeth? You said nut eating, whatever. So you can
Yeah.
start painting it just one piece at a time and kind of helping us see what this thing actually looks like. Um,
This is a cool thing. This is a cool
yeah,
part of your world building. Give us a little bit of
yeah.
description of what the thing looks like, and then have it bound onto her shoulder after you've established it.
I do so much world building and so much scene setting with adjectives.
Mm,
And it doesn't mean, you know, the blue, hard, rough, gray, striped, hand-sized, bouncy, inflated ball. Like, not talking about that. That's an
yeah.
insane, like, but the just the adjective of the tail, or the adjective of the teeth, or the adjective of the eyes, or whatever. One adjective that adds something. You already have the line there, adding one adjective on something to help grow the picture of this thing. And I love that. I do
Mm.
adjectives, like that. I don't stack my adjectives 15 deep like some people do. That's insane. But we have a tight ball. We can
Yeah.
add an adjective of what the thing looks like. We have her lap. We can add an adjective of what it looks like in her lap.
Mm.
We have her yawning. We have it bounding. We have it looking. Like, there's all these things that if we just add, they're all opportunities to add. I'm not saying add them to every one of them. Please understand. But these are all opportunities to go, you know what? I could describe this one piece of this thing right here with one word.
Yes.
And then I could add another word there and another word, later. And by the time you get bound to the end of the page, the person knows exactly what this squirrel cat looks
Yeah.
like
And
without info dumping.
you've given the reader a much better experience of the thing's actions and perhaps even its relationship with Kimachi. Okay,
Hmm.
let me continue. Patience bin, she said. The last time she'd read this, she'd had a vision, the most important one of her life, and the whole reason she was here. She saw no signs of what was promised to come. She was no great seer, but when had a premonition ever been wrong? She anticipated a man who would bring three unexpected things. I'm going to pause here. Do you get this?
Yeah, it's saying that the last time she did this, she had a premonition that there was going to be a dude showing up, and he was going to bring three things for her. And so she was expecting that.
But
At
is
least
she
that's what I'm getting out of it.
anticipating that he's going to walk out of this farmhouse right now in this
Or
place?
or down the road, or out of the
Or or
forest, or
or is this in general she's expecting it? Is she reading the book in order to get more detail on the vision, or is she reading the book to see the like,
the detail's not there.
yeah. So, and the reason why I'm stopping on it is because it
Missed
confused me
opportunities.
more than it gave me motivation. Because it sets up a expectation in my mind. Okay, is she here to meet this man, or does she just expect him in general? And that misunderstanding could have you lose half your readers. Because
Yeah.
half of them are like, okay, so we're waiting right here for this guy to pitch up. And the other half are thinking, okay, so the story is going to be about this guy arriving. And both of those sets of readers, one of them is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I,
Since you stopped, the thing I would like to talk about. Or are you
yeah,
finished? Sorry, I
yeah,
want to make
yeah,
sure you're finished.
yeah.
Okay. Because I agree. There's a lot of missed opportunities here. Again, it's the same thing with the first sentence. Each one of these things are so loaded. We could expand and get some motivation in there. But one of the things that I want to talk about is stacking phrases in a sentence. So many people do this. So I want to look at 10 and 11. The last time she had read this, she had a vision, the most important of her life, and the whole reason she was here. So you want your phrases in a sentence to be as intimately related as you can. And anything that is a part of that that's also strong enough to be on its own, you really don't want to include it in there, in my opinion. So, like, the last time she was here, okay, she had a vision. All right, we get that. The last time she had a vision, and it was the most important of her life. Now, there's an argument to be made that we could break out the most important of her life, but it is the most important of her life, and it was a vision that she had the last time she was here. So that's still very intimately related.
Yeah.
But how does that have anything to do intimately with it was the reason why she was here? Like that's
It
a
doesn't.
whole different motivation.
Yeah.
And also saying it's the reason the character's doing something, pretty strong.
Yeah.
Pretty strong to not be buried at the end of a stack of phrases.
Yeah.
So, this is something I fight all the time with, my own
Also,
writing and everybody
yeah.
else's.
Also, not only does it deserve to be on its own, but it deserves some clarity.
Yes.
Like here, right this moment here, because that's what threw me off. I was like, here, like right here, we're expecting this guy, or here to read the codex, or here to. What does it mean that she's here because of this vision?
Hmm.
So
Yeah, lots of opportunities to work in motivation.
yeah, you're right. This does not feel like it should be tacked on at
No,
the end.
that is definitely strong enough to be its own thing. There's an argument to be made that the fact that that vision was the most important of her life is strong enough and deserves its own moment in the spotlight because you're burying it at the end of the sentence. The further you get into a sentence, the less importance the reader's mind puts on the information.
Yes and no. So there is also an argument for putting the strength at the end of a sentence, because sometimes a reader will take the end and retain that. So depending on so I could make the argument for it being at the end is fine, but then it must be at the end, not the middle. No one likes the middle child. The, it's it's
Rude.
the beginning or it's the end. The middle is just porridge. It fills it up and it's necessary, but it's not it's not the shining jewel.
Yeah. I still say that wherever you point the camera at, which is your subject, is going to take the spotlight in the reader's brain. Yes, the last thing, maybe they pulled that with them, but I still think that when you have a long run on sentence, we have a clause and three phrases here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I agree with you for the most part. I'm just saying, like, you can sometimes reverse. I wouldn't do it with every sentence, but you
Right.
can sometimes reverse that and have
Oh,
the reader
certainly.
take the end
Certainly.
away.
Certainly.
But then it needs to be the end of the
Right.
sentence, certainly, the end of the paragraph, if you can manage it.
Yeah. So stacking phrases, I mean, because we have a phrase, a clause, a phrase, a phrase.
Mm.
And it's just a lot of information, especially when one of them is not quite as intimately related to the rest as it could be. Not saying it's not related enough to be in a paragraph. Don't misunderstand me. When I say it's not intimately related enough to be in a sentence, it is still 100% a part of this paragraph. So it is still a 100% a part of this moment, this idea, this concept, this thing that we're describing. So it is related. I'm not saying it's
Mm.
not. I'm just saying that there's a difference between being in the paragraph as its own moment to shine versus tacked on as a phrase at the end of a sentence. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. She was no great at then this is fine, except that, as I say, like, it left me going like she anticipated a man who would bring three unexpected things. Now, in the future, yeah, is this related to this moment, or is it a in general thing? Like, so
Yeah.
I'd like
And
some
the
clarity.
thing Marie is bouncing through is there's so much opportunities to add motivation, to
Mm.
add depth to the story for the reader's understanding. That's what she's kind of popping here. She's like, you could just a little bit here and a little bit, or a little bit there, or a
Mm.
little bit here, or a little bit there. And you could give the reader so much more depth into this character, into the story, into this world. That's what Marie's really kind of
Yeah,
popping. And since it's almost every sentence has value that is a missed opportunity, I'm sure that it's weighing heavier on your conscience as you go through here.
all right. He'd save mid-bluffs from a demon under a castle. She would become a knight amid snowy mountains. Lastly, he would tell a story that wasn't a story, but an accusation. Okay. Um, she thumbed the yellowed page to the 10 rules of chivalry. These were the 10 most important for a knight to follow. Cleanse unclean spirits, defend the wrong, defend the weak, act with valor, never tell a lie, be generous, bring justice to the unjust, show humility, gain the gods' favor, obey authority if not in conflict with the other codes. I'm a pause. Okay. Let's start with the 15 to 17. Who is the she who would become a knight amid snowy mountains?
I'm assuming mid bluffs. So the problem that I had with 15 is there's no pivot. It just comes out of nowhere. We're talking about this vision and that we're expecting someone, and then we're just randomly talking about some chick who killed a demon.
No. So this is. I'm assuming that the paragraph is supposed to be the man who would bring three unexpected things.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
assuming the first one is he would save the mid-bluffs from a demon under a castle, and the mid-bluff sounds like a place.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. It just with no pivot, it lost me.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yes, you are correct.
So the first sentence I still got, but then it was she would become a knight amid snowy mountains. Who? Which she? Is this still Kimitchi?
Is it
And
the
how is
demon
that related
under
to
the
the
castle?
man who's bringing an unexpected thing? Like,
Yeah, so ambiguity there with the pronoun.
yeah,
But it gets convoluted too because we talk about the dude, then we talk about her, then we talk about the dude.
yeah.
So the paragraph is rough because of the fact of we're just kind of we're doing all too much in one paragraph. These are sentences that don't belong in one paragraph. Funny thing is, I talked about this at the writers' room this week, not last night, but the night before in my Tuesday group. Somebody was writing a story, and it's the first page, and they had a couple paragraphs of the character motivation, and then he had a couple paragraphs of this other thing. Then they had a couple paragraphs. They went right back to the I'm sorry, not motivation. They had a couple paragraphs of the character background. Then they went to something that was happening right now. Then they went back to the paragraph or back to the background. And then, and they were kind of all over the place. I'm
Mm.
like, you are on the first page. You, the writer, know all of this stuff. You know exactly, the backstory. So when you break up that backstory and come back to it and keep coming back to it every couple of paragraphs, you know it already. But your reader is trying to find their feet on the first page. So one of the things you can do to help them out is block information. So because he transitioned great into the backstory of this character of this, how his relationship with his mother, basically. And I'm like, stay there. Stay there. Let us learn the relationship with his mother and then pivot to this thing that's happening now and then stay there. And the reason why it's so important is you're on the first page. So breaking this up and being clever with it and all of that, you're not doing your reader justice. You're making them work harder than you need to because it didn't have to happen that way. It's not like there was, again, I always say you can do anything you want as long as there's a payoff for the reader. So if you broke up that stuff like I was talking about and the reader got to the end and went, "Oh my goodness, that was amazing that happened like that." And it wouldn't have happened had I not broken up the mother relationship and the thing that was happening now, mother relationship and the thing that was happening now, you would not have gotten the payoff that you got. Yeah, there was no payoff there for that. It was just information that he decided to break up into small chunks here and there and kind of scatter it throughout the first couple of pages. And I'm like, the reader doesn't get any favor out of this. So go ahead and you know, just sit in the mother for a minute, that moment, the relationship with the mother. When we understand that and we get that relationship and that motivation, because that motivation is what his entire motivation was for the story. It's what's driving the character. And I'm like, it's important, let us sit there for a second and then move on to the thing that happens.
Yeah, and here we also have too much, like same kind of thing.
Yeah.
That we're pivoting into this what the guy's gonna okay, fine. But then we're talking about her and we're talking about like it's just it's weird. And then she goes to the 10 rules of chivalry.
So yeah, some people don't like lists like this. I don't have a problem with it. It's hit or miss.
I
There's no
don't mind the list, but I would have liked her thoughts on the list.
yes. But here's the problem that I had with it. Go back up to the top, first paragraph. All right. See, so it's not there. I put it there because that's the thing. If you don't describe
Mm.
things, readers will make it up. So I made up that this codex was something very magical. That there was a, we talked about that she had a vision while reading it. So
Well,
I put
it should be. It's called Spells and Chivalry.
okay. So I just put a lot more into this book being more of a magic tome. And then when we get down here and we flip the page and there is literally a chart on how to be a knight, I felt like there was an inconsistency for me. I went, wait a minute, did we get another book?
So
So,
that part made sense to me because I got that it's both spells and chivalry, which is fine. We're talking magical knights, sure. Um, but
like I said, I put that in there.
yeah,
I'm not saying the author did that.
I'm
So
not.
the disconnect was my fault, but
Yeah,
again, the
yeah.
information wasn't there, so I'm going to make it up.
For me, I would just like to know what she thinks about these rules.
Hmm. And it
These
doesn't mean
are
every
like
single one of them.
she wants to be a knight, clearly, because she says she would become a knight amid snowy mountains. So clearly that's the thing that she wants. Yeah. These rules, how she feels about them should inform her character. Does she think they're valuable? Does she think they're valueless? Does she think that they're all nonsense and people break them? Does she want to lead a revival where these rules are once again important? Like, this is a very, very key moment where you can define a lot about the character. You can really dig into that interiority.
Hmm. Now, it doesn't mean every single one. It's not a number one,
Yeah.
this, and this is how I feel about it. And number two, this, and this is how I feel about this. You could do it. You just have to they have to be very engaging.
Mm,
You can also do them every second one, every third one, group them. These were her favorites. She
yeah.
liked these because they did this thing to her. These next three, she was, this or whatever.
Pick
Just
pick out
you,
pick out two, pick out three. Give me
right.
something.
Right. You just have to remember that the reader only has so much patience. And if you're going to do a list of 10 things and then you're going to describe her reacting to each one individually, one at a time in this big long list, you run the risk of your reader losing
You
kind of the interest in it.
you can even react to them all overall, but she doesn't even do that. She just
Right.
dumps the list on us, and then we go straight into a
To
distraction.
to somebody coming.
Yeah. So
So,
that is a massive missed opportunity for giving
mhm.
some real strong interiority in this moment. All right. The sound of gravel alerted her, and she spotted a lanky framed man taking slow steps. The man was a sight. His boots flopped open with each step as if they were trying to speak. A fly buzzed around him. She didn't need to get close to know he smelled like a gong pit. She spotted is filtering.
Mhm.
The sound of gravel I'm not overly fond of. I would like to have something like
It's
gravel crunched or gravel avalanched or gravel roared or gravel something.
and something more like pulling her attention from. So the way it's written here is still in that more omniscient lean instead of the more limited lean. So, telling me that the sound of gravel alerted her is somebody else saying that. Something like the sound of gravel pulled her attention from. That's keeping me in the character in
Yeah,
that limited mode. Yeah. Why are we looking at her as she's looking at this lanky framed man? This
yeah.
comes down to understanding diagramming. We have a sentence here. What is our subject? She. What is our action? Spotted. Is that the cool thing of that sentence? Is she spotting something, the thing that we want the reader to focus on? Or is the lanky framed man walking toward her what we want the reader to focus on? And so it's just diagramming your sentences, understanding what your where you want to point the camera. Remember, your subject of a sentence is where you point the camera for the reader. And is that what is this what you want? And then something else happened here, and I didn't mention it before. I had written it down, but I didn't. But let's go back up to 18, and then we'll come down to 33.
Okay.
This is just this is just maturing as a writer and becoming more confident in not only your abilities, but trusting the reader's abilities. So if we look at this sentence, she thumbed the yellow page to the 10 rules of chivalry. So that tells us it's a tell, but it tells us what she's doing. These were the 10 most important things for a knight to follow. That's literally what the last sentence just said. Different, sure, but you're saying the exact same thing twice. Not only that, you have the echo of the 10 and blah, blah, blah. But combining this into one thing that's going to give us this one time is going to be better for the reader, better for, you, because you're gaining confidence in being able to do it. And then if we scroll down to 33, it's kind of the same thing of the confidence. Crap, you've written something. The man was a sight. That's what it was. So that's, first of all, just a flat out blatant tell. There's no information there. And then you're literally going to show what that means. So you've told me something that you then immediately show me. And so, and it's hard. This is probably a line that I cut out of my puke draft more than anything else, because it's just so easy to go, the man was a sight, and then describe him. And when you come back and you go, well, but I'm describing him. So obviously he was a sight. Like, why am I telling? And this is just that, kind of getting into the confidence of being a writer, that I don't have to tell my reader something that I'm about to show them. The show is going to be the thing that is going to carry this moment.
Yeah.
So both of those, 18 and 33, I think both stem from that same thing. It's just maturing as a writer and starting to realize that our reader actually is intelligent, and we are actually good at what we're doing. And so we don't need to double dip and do the tell and then the show, or the show and then the tell. That happens all the time too. Like they'll describe the boots and the wind and all of this stuff and his crazy hair, and then go, the man was a sight. Like, yeah, you literally just showed us that. So that's something that I still also work on every single day. Tell, show, tell. But that is there. And so it's something to think about.
And just to give this writer a little bit of sugar, because this was really cute. His boots flopped open with each step as if they were trying to speak. I was like, that's a very cute way of describing it. I can see the boots. Excellent. Well done.
Yep. And that's one of the reasons why, because the description of the man is actually really good. The fact that he was a sight is even more egregious to me.
Yeah. He halted at the farmhouse and wandered behind a row of flowering bushes. The enormously long sword at his back told her this was the man she'd waited for, the one she'd caught a glimpse of in her vision. The house's door creaked open and then swung wide to reveal an elderly man clutching a pitchfork. His droopy eyelids widened, and he gave a gap-toothed smile. They call you Whitebeard now, don't they? After all this time, you're much like I remember, save a few lines of worry. Could it be you're getting old after all these years? Whitebeard's shadow cut along the ground, over a stone wall, and onto the old man's home of flaking paint. It was a shadow all the longer for the tall, wide-brimmed hat teetering on his head. Good to see you again. It has been so long, a lifetime. I'm a pause. Mm,
POV has disappeared.
yes, that's the one thing that Kimichi is no longer in the scene. Um, so
That's we had somebody read last night that was trying to write a fight scene from a peripheral narrator's perspective, which is probably one of the most god awful hard things to do. But this is falling into the same, you know, Kamichi is becoming a peripheral narrator to the story in this moment. So you can't lose that character. You have to, Kamichi is still there. She's still seeing this. She's still being affected by this. She's still thinking about it. She's still having emotions about it. These are the things that need to keep us in Kamichi
Eve,
because she's here.
yeah, eavesdropping is incredibly hard to write, and the way to
Mhm.
do it, in my opinion, is to, and what I try to do when I'm writing eavesdropping scenes, is I try to always bring it back to how the character feels about
Mhm.
what they hear. How
Mhm.
does she feel about the fact that this dude is her vision savior guy, but he smells like a tip? How does that impact her emotionally?
Yep.
She's
It's
not
the
going to
exact same.
interact with the scene. You've got to just bring it back to her the whole time.
Yeah. It's the exact same thing as that 10-part list.
Yeah.
If you're writing in limited, we are inside that character. We know what she's thinking, what she's feeling, what she's, her motivations, her desires, all of it. And to stay in limited, we need to stay in that character.
Yeah.
And so you just can't lose your POV in a scene like this. Um,
Especially not chapter one,
right.
opening
Well,
scene.
the big problem with it is if I'm supposed to be connected to Kamichi, and then I read a page of just some random dudes talking, I don't care about them. I don't even know why they're here. But if I stay in Kamichi and get why she cares about them, why she is affected by what's going on, now I'm actually invested in these guys talking. But when you lose Kamichi, you lose that POV, you lose that ability to ground me into this, and now you're just telling me stuff.
Yeah.
And if I remember it or not is just a die roll.
Yeah.
Maybe this stuff I just go, yeah, this is just white noise. Let's keep going until I get back to the character. Maybe I pay attention to it. Like, who knows? But if I'm connected to Kamichi and now Kamichi is connected to this scene that she's watching and feeling things and thinking things and worried about things and how it connects to her life, I now care about the conversation. I'm invested in it because I'm invested in Kamichi. I'm
Yeah.
invested in the POV. So that's the danger for me for losing the POV.
My my second complaint about this is this really the words coming out of the character's mouth?
They feel very prosy.
They don't feel like dialogue.
Hmm.
B, they reek of as you know, Bob.
Hmm.
They feel like it's prose information being given to the reader. Like,
Hmm.
that's what it feels like. So I'll continue and we'll see if it improves.
Well, there's one little minor stupid thing that
Mm.
I want to talk about up on 40.
Okay.
We talk about this all the time with the then, next, now.
Yes. Then.
You don't need these words. You do not need stage direction. The house door creaked open and swung wide to reveal. Like, of course it happened then. It has to happen then. It's in order. I'm reading it word for word for word. Whatever word comes after this word happened then, or happened next, or happens now. Like those stage direction words is what I call them, are just absolutely worthless and they weaken the story because they remind me it's a story.
Yeah.
When you say the house's door creaked open and swung wide to reveal an elderly man, I'm there. I'm in that moment. I'm just watching the movie. When you say the house's door creaked open and then swung wide, I'm like, oh, right, somebody's telling me a story. I'm not
Yeah.
actually watching this moment. I'm being told this as a story. And it to me, that is just egregious.
And
That
it's
it
so easy to
just
cut
doesn't.
out.
Oh yeah,
Just
you
cut
just cut
out
them.
all the thens in your
And
manuscript
nows
and
and now.
nows and yeah.
Yeah,
There is
those.
sometimes you can make an argument for nows. You can
Oh,
sometimes even make an argument for thens. But
right.
for the most part, just cut them. Just cut them
Well,
all.
and we've been beating this drum this whole time, but let's go ahead and pound it
Yeah.
one more time. There is never anything in creative writing that you never do. Like,
Yes.
period. So when we say don't use stage direction words, it means for the most part.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you're not going to run into a situation where you're like, oh, but now just really sets this scene, sets this
Mm.
sentence, does whatever. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but it doesn't mean that they don't exist.
So
So,
I actually wrote one today where the scene ended with um she ignored the seething pit of nerves in her belly. The tiger had taken the bait. Now it only had to be convinced to eat someone else.
that's not stage direction.
No,
That's
I know,
that's
but it is
future
the
tense.
same word, right? It's the now word.
Right. But
Yeah.
I'm actually talking about using now as stage direction.
All
So
right, no.
using then as stage direction. Well, no, I'm saying there is a possibility that you run into those and they're fantastic. But
Yeah,
for the most part, stage direction, then now next, when
yeah,
you're directing the stage. The way you used now there was in the future of this story, we hope to do this thing because this has happened and now we need to now think about this. Usually that's going to fail. Usually we're going to do this next. At least that's what we hope. But But this is not that. This is just using it as, and then the next thing that happens, even though you're going to read these words next, is this. So
yeah.
that's the thing that I would.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I can't think of one that I've ever used for stage direction that I felt was a good and
I
appropriate use.
I can't think of any off the top of my head either. But I just, the
Doesn't
one
mean it's
thing.
not there. Maybe Steinbeck used one, you know?
Yeah. Well, he probably used one just as stage direction, and I would 100% pop him on it, and then piss somebody off because they're a huge fan of his.
Great American author Steinbeck.
Yeah. Um. So, you know, I just the more I've taught this, the more I've talked about this, the more I write myself, the more I realize there's no such thing as an unbreakable rule. Creative is the first word in creative writing, as my Drakeism goes.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
you know,
100%.
I'm writing the
It
holy
is
book of.
possible that you can find one, but this is not it.
Well, it's funny. I'm writing the holy book of grammar, and it is a book that teaches grammar. And
Yeah.
yet the first lesson is, yes, this is a book on grammar, but really what this is a book on how to break all of those rules. That's what it's a book about. It's not a book about learning the rules. It's about book about learning the rules so that you can break the rules. And that's really what the book is about.
But I mean
So,
that is the secret at the end of the day, right? Is you
yeah,
have to know the rules so that you can deliberately and on purpose break them for impact.
yeah,
100%. All right.
yeah.
So if you find an impactful place for stage direction, use it.
Yes.
But in general, it
Don't
does
use it.
nothing but weaken your sentence.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
99% of the time,
Yeah.
72% of all statistics are made up on the spot. So 99% of the time, it's bad.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right. I keep hearing about your return every time a pigeon lands on my windowsill. There aren't many still alive who know who we are, but there are still a few. They say you've been given the gift of prescience. Said it before you left, they did. Okay, no.
Yeah. I
No,
mean, the
this
whole
is
thing
As
is
You
just,
Know Bob. I am now calling it As You Know Bob.
yeah, it all is. It's all just, I need to info dump at my reader and I'm going to hide it in between quotes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you're doing. This is all information for the reader. None of these characters would say this to each other. Like, if, if, if I'm one of two people that most people in the world that I live in do not even think that I'm alive, I'm not going to say that
Yeah.
because Especially, I'm not going to say it to the other guy who most people think is not alive.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's that's not, you know, I'm just trying to think of an example, that whole, hey, Marie, remember while we're doing this whole podcast, remember that you're human, so you have to breathe air. If you don't breathe air, you will pass out. Like, that's obviously for somebody reading this book who doesn't know what a human is.
So that isn't quite. This is not quite that egregious. This is more like,
No, no,
hey
no, it's
Drake.
not.
So remember that you are writing an award-winning book, or rewriting the second edition, an award-winning book on which involves a lion man. Okay,
Hmm.
I know that. You know that. The only reason that sentence would leave my mouth is because I'm telling the audience. I am breaking the fourth wall to
Yeah,
speak directly to our audience. Now, that's fine on a podcast, but it is
yeah,
not fine in prose.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons why dialogue is so hard.
Yeah,
But dialogue is not just a default. I can info dump at my reader and hide it between quotes. It actually makes me feel like, and a lot of readers, it makes us feel like these characters are not real. They are two-dimensional. They are only here for the plot. It's like there's some people that pick on movies or whatever, and one of my favorite things that they do, and I don't necessarily like those people in general, but they do some things that I really think is funny. And one of them is, and why did that happen? And the answer is, oh, because the plot needs it. Oh, right, 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 right. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Like, why would the character decide to do that? Because the plot needs it. Oh, right, yes. That's why the character decides to do it.
that's right. He's also got the line of like, and why did this happen to her? Oh, because she's a secondary character in a romance movie. Oh, right, right, right,
Right,
right,
right,
right.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And why do these people like her? Because she's the main character. Right. Yes,
Right, right,
yes,
right,
yes,
right,
yes.
right, right. Yes, of course.
So I do think those are very funny. Even though I'm not a fan of people who their art is picking on other art.
In
Um,
his defense, he makes a lot of his own art as well. Like,
he does.
yeah,
And if you know who we're talking about, you know who we're
yeah,
talking about. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. But yes, he is a writer. He actually does do his own stuff. So I
yeah,
do know that. But there are a lot of people out there that just have a lot of followers, and all they do is come up with a funny way to just thrash something that they didn't create. And they don't
yeah,
create anything other than that. That's all they create. And I'm not a fan of people like that. If you can create it, you can critique it. But if you're not creating it, I mean, then it's
which
just
is
your
not to
opinion.
say, like, which is not to say that I don't like review channels, because like there's a guy called Alex who does really cool reviews of movies and whatever, and he draws little animated figures that do the talking and whatever, and he's really funny with his reviews, and he actually gives a decent in-depth review of the thing, which is different from just
Picking on
making
it.
fun of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Reviewers are necessary, like Siskel and Ebert,
Mm.
showing my age, but they were the perfect movie reviewer for me. You could not get a better movie reviewer for me, because if both of them were like thumbs up, I wasn't watching that movie. It was going to be a piece of garbage, 100%. If one of them said thumbs up and the other said thumbs down, maybe. If they both thumbs down the movie, I was first in line to see it. It was going to be one of my favorite movies of that moment. They batted 1,000 for me. They never missed for me. And so I watched their reviews because it told me exactly what I was going to enjoy and exactly what I wasn't going to enjoy.
Yeah.
It just happened that my opinions were exactly opposite of theirs to the T. But that's fine. What's a movie reviewer's job is to help me find something that I'm going to enjoy. So if they're negative, helps me find something I'm going to enjoy, and they're positive, keeps me away from something I'm not going to enjoy, they've done their job. So I love Siskel and Ebert. Loved them. I am saying their names right. It is that, right? Siskel and Ebert? I'm pretty sure it was that. I also feel like that might be a comedy troupe. I'm old. I've had cancer since then. I don't know. Makes me want to look it up now.
At the
All right.
time when yeah, but yeah. All right. Anyway, so my point is this is As You Know Bob dialogue.
Yes, it is Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
I was right. I shouldn't have doubted myself. All right.
All right.
Um,
It,
what let's transition to kind of unfortunately we're out of time. So
mm,
can we do some overall stuff, some bigger picture
yeah,
stuff? What are your feelings on this piece?
my big so I know that this is always a recurring theme for us, but it's especially true here. We are missing interiority. The first biggest problem of this piece is we are missing how Kichi, sorry, I keep calling her Kamichi, Kichi feels about any of
Everything.
this.
Yeah.
Everything. We have no idea. We don't know if she's looking forward to meeting the guy. We don't know if she's disappointed by how he looks. We don't know if she loves her squirrel cat. We don't know if
How
she
she feels
wants to
about
be a
becoming a knight.
knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know how she feels about the codes of chivalry. We know nothing about her interior life. We only know about her exterior life. And
Hmm.
that is the single biggest problem on this page.
Hmm.
No
That being said,
interiority.
that being said, sentence structure for the most part is really, really good. We popped a few little silly things, but that,
Mm,
for the most part, sentence structure is good. Paragraph structure is good. There's that one paragraph that we had a problem with. Punctuation, there's actually not a lot of like some of the weaker things, like a lot of there was only the one L adverb or maybe two L adverbs that I saw. There's the one filtering, there may be a second one. Like for the most part, this is some pretty good prose. It does
yes.
lean more to the tell side, which also doesn't help the fact that there's no interiority. But this is a really, really, really sound base. When somebody like this walks
Mm,
into the writer's room, it always makes me happy because it means that I don't have to, not that I have a problem with it. I have tons of students
mm,
that I'm just teaching how to make a sentence. But I do really love someone like this because now I can take them and go, look, let me teach you this really hard concept called interiority. Let me teach you this really hard concept of how to write dialogue to where you're not relying on it being info dump, as you know, Bob dialogue. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
that's the type of student that I really love seeing because when they get it, their writing exponentially improves almost overnight. And so I do want to say that to this person. I know we just, as always, we can't help but destroy everything that comes our way. If it makes you guys feel any better, I destroy Marie's stuff and she destroys my stuff. Like, like it's just how we are. Um, but like seriously, if this writers listen to this podcast, which I hope they are, this is a very, very good solid base. And now it's just getting away from, okay, I know grammar, I know some structure, I know all this. Now, how do I actually show a story? How do I actually immerse the reader into my story?
Yeah.
That's the thing that we would like to see out of this.
People often misjudge the enormous value of having a solid grasp on the English language.
Hmm.
Like being able to form good sentences that are grammatically correct is an undervalued skill.
Hmm.
And there is a logical flow here, and there
Hmm.
is sufficient description to follow what is going on.
Hmm.
Those are all very good things.
Hmm.
What you need now is to build on your interiority, to make the characters in inner life rich and engaging. And then I think you will have a solid story.
Yeah. Yeah. So be very, even though we crushed this, you should be very proud of where you're at because you are further along than a lot of people trying to do this craft. And unfortunately, the demons that we just put in front of you that you have to slay are some of the tougher of the ones, and they take longer. We're talking about everything we laid out here is going to be the next 6 to 12 months of your life. You're not going to fix this tomorrow. This is going to be a longer process. These are more of the hard concepts to kind of get in. It's why we talk about this being a language. This is a language. No one would buy a book on Japanese, read it tonight, fly to Japan, and expect to speak like a local. No one. There's not a single person that does that. But for whatever reason, people think that they can write prose tomorrow, because it smells like English, I guess, but it's not English. It's prose. So Yeah.
And I think that that is a good place on which to end this episode, and we will see you soon for another one.
Bye.
If you are ready to take your writing to the next level and work with a group of highly motivated, dedicated writers who are all working to not only improve their writing, but improve your writing, plus you get to work with me on a weekly basis, then I'll encourage you to check out writersroom.us. This is a website that I have created that I really wish I had 30 years ago. It's everything a writer needs to become a better writer. Not only do we do weekly critique sessions, both from other members as well as me, we have daily writing sessions, I do monthly classes, Q&As, we have activities, I do all sorts of learning exercises, such as I do a quarterly writing prompt contest, and just tons and tons and tons of things. So if you're ready to get serious about your writing and you want to actually finish that novel and have a chance of it being published, then I encourage you to head on over to the Writer's Room and join me there. And as a special promotion for listeners of Releasing Your Inner Dragon, I'll go one step more. If you would like to get 50% off for 3 months, reach out to me. There's a million ways you can do that. You can do it through starvingwriterstudio.com, drakeu.com, any of my social medias such as LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, whatever. Reach out to me, say that you would like to check out the Writer's Room for 50% off, and I will send you a link that will allow you to do just that. So hopefully you're ready to start getting serious about writing, and I'll see you in the Writer's Room.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Marie Mullaney, your co-host on this literary adventure. Our goal is to provide you with valuable insights and discussions on writing. If you believe in our mission, please like and subscribe our podcast. Sharing our episodes with your community not only helps us grow, but also contributes to a richer, more diverse conversation about storytelling. We appreciate your support. For a deeper understanding of the topics we've discussed, head over to Just in Time Worlds on YouTube. It is a treasure trove where fantasy meets history and science. Every Tuesday, you'll find new videos that delve into the intricacies of world building, drawing from our rich real-world history. Whether you're a writer, a role player, or just a fantasy enthusiast, Just in Time Worlds offers unique insights that will enrich your perspective. Check it out and join the journey of crafting incredible worlds.